Okay. Good start. Surprise microphone! Today we're going to find out if people are butts with Am I the A-hole? AITA for pretending to get fired when customers get a temper with me. I'm a high schooler with a weekend job at a coffee shop. Love coffee shops. My coworkers who work weekends are James, the owner's son. He goes to my school. He's a shift manager, but it's not a real formal thing. He's a friendly guy. Danielle, a college student who works sometimes on the weekends too. So sometimes customers will come in and just be angry about such little stuff, like literally blow up about nothing. I don't know if they're in a bad mood already and looking for someone to take it out on or what, but it's a lot. Like, how sad do you have to be a grown-ass man taking your anger out on high school and college kids? So James and I were joking about having a little fun with them and hopefully getting them off our backs. So one day I was at work and some guy was having a temper about how we don't make the coffee hot enough, which I couldn't do a thing about because I gave it to him right out of the machine. Also, real quick, I was taught that you're not supposed to give people scalding hot coffee so they can drink it instantly. You ever taken a latte and you had to sit there and wait till it was cool enough to drink? I'm looking at you, Starbucks. You ever done that? Freaking, yeah, give me my latte. Oh, this latte's 300 degrees. I guess I'll just wait 15 minutes. I hate it when that happens, dude. Freaking, ow. So one day I was at work and some guy was having a temper about how we didn't make the coffee hot enough, which I couldn't do a thing about because I gave it to him right out of the machine. So James came in and was like, "Sir, is there a problem here?" And the guy started ranting at him too. James, as we knew, was the owner's son. Okay, good guy. So he was just like, "This is unacceptable. You're fired." I started acting real sad. Like, "No, please don't fire me. My family needs the money. I need this job, please." And he played out being a hard ass, telling me to take off my apron and leave. The angry guy started to backtrack. Like, "It isn't that big of a problem. You don't need to fire her over it. I didn't mean it." And James was like, "No, we pride ourselves on the best customer service. This rocks." Oh man, that's awesome. I love a coffee shop job. It's great because, like, when you're dealing with people all day long who are just sometimes they can be really rude. I've worked in coffee for years, a couple of years at least, and most of the time, honestly, from my experience working at a coffee shop, Tiago Coffee Bar and Kitchen, very good coffee in LA. Tell them Daniel sent you. Okay, when I worked there, most of the time people were super nice. People were really, really nice, and I was the front facing, like, cashier guy. I was the guy who interfaced with all of them. If there was ever a problem, we'd remake something real quick. No, nobody's mean about it. But also, if any customer was mean to us that we've kicked a couple people, we're just like, "Get out, shut up." That's the advantage of having a really busy place, is like you can kind of pick your customers or determine whether or not you're going to allow them to treat you a certain way. The angry guy started to backtrack, like, "It isn't that big of a problem. You don't need to fire her over it. I didn't mean it." And James was like, "No, we pride ourselves on the best customer service." Of course, after all that drama, I still had my job. We were just acting, and we've done it a couple of times. Whenever a customer will lose their temper at Danielle or I, James will storm in and fire us, and almost every time, the person who had come in angry will apologize and say that they didn't mean it. It's kind of satisfying, making people realize their actions might actually have consequences. I think that's what they want. They want to feel like my voice is important and I want things to be moved, and it's cool. It's a weird way to make the customer feel heard. That's what you're doing. Anyways, I was telling my friends from school about this, and a few of them thought it was a mean prank to let someone go away thinking they'd gotten somebody who desperately needs the money fired. AITA for this joke? No, dude, no. Especially, I mean, if they came in and they were like, "Hey, I'm so sorry. I asked for this iced. Is that okay?" That's good. Like, don't do that to them, because then they're going to feel like, "Oh, I can't ask for anything ever." You know what I mean? Like if somebody asked for a drink that was iced and you made it hot and they come in and they're like, "Hey, I'm so sorry. This is supposed to be iced." Then just make it iced and don't do this. But if they're being like just proper jerks, if they're actually being proper jerks, then I think it's funny. I think that's really funny. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I love that sound. May not look like it, but it's nighttime when I'm recording this. I'm having a great time here. You having a good time? Everybody put your hands in the air, go, yeah! Let's see what people say in the comments. NTA, that's a perfect way of dealing with hostile customers. Sometimes people just want to feel like they have power. This isn't a justification. It is trying to understand where they're coming from. Some people need to feel important, and they haven't for a long time. Probably at their own incompetence. You know what I'm saying? Some people need to feel like they have control over a situation. They don't have a locus of control in their life. And the only way they can feel that is by being like micromanagerial to mundane things like a coffee order. People want to feel important. How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie talks about that. You know, people desire feeling important. They want you to get their name right. They want you to get their order right. They want to feel heard and listened to. And you know, some of those people have learned throughout their years of life. Some of those people have learned that a way to feel important, to feel heard, is by being a jerk to somebody and watch somebody squirm a little bit. You know, we're just lame, bad. Everybody say yeah. Yeah. I got it. I'm gonna stop. I'm sorry. Please stay. I'll stop. Yeah. What the fuck is? Am I the cloaca? Am I the cloaca for washed dishes? Hello, friends. It is Monkey, 5 male house panther ear helmet. Tonight, the female human was making human dinner and it smelled wonderful. There was chicken in it, and I was so moved that I decided to help while the female human finished making dinner. There were dishes in the sink, and I had already had my dinner, so why not? As I started to clean the dishes in the sink, the female human yelled, "Monkey, stop licking up the chicken curry off that bowl." Is this AITA for like cats? Sorry, guys, I got distracted. What is this, dude? It's like a cat role-playing subreddit? I gotta get out of here. Oh, God. Oh. Are we gonna do the German version of this? Bin ich das Arschloch? This comment here says, to be honest, I'm surprised more of these rude customers aren't satisfied with the firing. I think it'd be even funnier if they were happy with it and then they came back only to see Op was still working there. This is something that I am curious about. What happens when the customer comes back? What happens when the customer comes back and they're like, "Oh, you're still here?" It's like, "Yeah, they let me get the job back, but I'll make sure to get your order right this time." Wouldn't that be strange? Don't you think that'd be a little strange? Got a little tripod, a little mini tripod here. Could freaking put a camera on that. Could also use it for self-defense. Hey, peekaboo, guess what? I found out that I recorded like half an hour and all the audio pooped out, so it's a completely another day. But let's resume. Am I the booty hole for telling my neighbor I dated her husband? I, 33 female, became friendly with my neighbor, 37 female. Let's call her Emily. After I helped her move a few boxes into our building while her husband was in the hospital. I didn't meet Emily's husband until a few weeks later when she invited me over to dinner as thanks. When I arrived first, Emily's husband had to run out to pick up some wine, but when he came back, I was shocked to see Matt, a guy I had gone on 3 dates with a year ago before he suddenly ghosted me. He had a terrible poker face and tried to pretend like he didn't recognize me. I don't play those games. I asked how long they had been married, and Emily said 3 years. She recognized there was tension and asked if we knew each other. He said no. I said yes and told Emily that I had gone on dates with him a year ago. She became very upset and asked me to leave, which I did. The next day, Emily reached out and said that she didn't appreciate that I lied about when I dated her husband. He told her we had dated 4 years ago, before they were married. I didn't even live in this city 4 years ago, and even if we had dated 4 years ago, they had been engaged at that point. Either way, he would have been cheating. I sent her screenshots of our text from the year before and from Bumble of his profile, which was still active. She never responded, but when I saw her in the lobby yesterday, she wouldn't even look me in the eye. I don't know if they're still together, and Emily hasn't responded to my text. So, am I the booty hole for telling her the truth? Man, you put yourself right there. You put yourself right there in the middle of the action, dude. You didn't have to. You know what I'm saying? You didn't have to, but you don't play those games, and you want that man to feel bad. I feel like a part of this is the fact that he ghosted you. I feel like him ghosting you upset you a little bit, and so now you have that chance to kind of return the favor, and you chose to pull the trigger. And don't get me wrong, deserved, right? This guy cheated. He was actively cheating and still plans to continue to cheat. It seems like he's piece of crap, this guy. But I feel like a lot of people would not have done it right there and then in front of the wife. You know what I'm saying? I feel like a lot of people would have waited, found a different time to do it, would have found a different opportunity, something in secret, something more girly pop. You know what I'm saying? Something a little bit more prim and proper, that kind of thing. But I don't know. I feel like this sort of this was definitely like a little get back. It felt like. You know what I'm saying? I completely agree with this comment here, though. You told her the info she did need to hear. Now, just let the pieces fall where they will. Do not engage further. Not the asshole. You were being honest, but it is best to leave her alone now. You got to be far away from that business because you don't want to be in there. You don't want to be involved in that. You don't want to be involved in a divorce and all that stuff. It's none of your bit. going through it on your own is tough. Don't involve yourself in other people's business like that, not in their marriage. I mean, her not responding currently is likely because she's super embarrassed. Her husband has been caught cheating with Op, and Emily was then convinced by whatever that is. A Starbucks? What the is this? Sam, this burger extra good. Sweet Tampa Bay X-rays. I wouldn't want to look at anyone for a while. Unfortunately, I'm thinking she decided to try and work on the marriage. Those are usually the only ones who are so ashamed people know. Yep, Op's proximity is inconvenient, and she's probably wishing her away every day. Not gonna happen. They're the ones who are gonna have to move because this is his mess. Yeah, dude, if he's actively on Bumble, if he's actively going on dates with people and he's trying to, get a little... You know what I'm saying? Little 007 in that boy. Gonna cheat, he's gonna cheat, he's gonna cheat on you. Update, Emily just stopped by. We had a quick chat, but she let me know that she's kicked Matt out, and she thanked me for telling me the truth. She also found out that I was not the only person he dated while they were married. Giving her space now, but wanted to share an update since it happened so quickly after posting. Yeah, she was just in her little processing phase. She was like, you don't want to see the dude or the lady who's been, getting down with your spouse. You know what I'm saying? That's not something you want to be seeing for a while. Eventually, a friendship may blossom in the dirtiest soil. Can root the ripest tree, ripest peach. Gonna cheat, gonna cheat, gonna cheat. Yeah, good for her. She kicked him out. Look, man, if you're gonna be that silly, sir, and then after, you're gonna keep your Bumble profile open? You're gonna keep it active? The fact that you didn't go home, you didn't just immediately go on all the apps or whatever and block her and try to eliminate any semblance, but no, dude, you kept it up. You kept it active. You're very silly. So glad for this update. I can totally understand how her first reaction was to stand by her husband, showing her love for him. He definitely doesn't deserve her. But then coming around and facing the facts, you definitely saved that woman from a life of misery. I think and hope she knows that, and hopefully in time she'll truly appreciate you. She's understandably very hurt now, but so much better off because of you. If I was Emily, I'd probably ask you to leave too, because I wouldn't want you to witness me screaming at my cheating dirtbag of a husband. NTA, you did the right thing. I just saw your update where she came and thanked you. Hopefully that gives you some peace. I like people like you, no games, straight up, honest and dignified. Yeah, this is a horrible situation to be in. I hope none of you ever find yourselves in that situation, dude. Because there's a lot of social pressures, I feel like, a lot of societal pressure to where you don't want to stir the pot. This was just I'm gonna drop this grenade right here, right in the middle of the marriage. Yeah, shout out to you, the cat's meow. You're ballsy, dude. Freaking ballsy, cause that boy gonna cheat. Am I the asshole for telling my boss that I wasn't invited to the party? I, 26 female, just started a new job. I quickly realized that one of my colleagues, Marie, is engaged and is getting married within the next 2 months. It seemed like the whole office was attending the wedding. I absolutely did not expect an invite. She just met me. Weddings are planned in advance, venues booked, etc. My friend actually just got married, so I saw firsthand how it all worked. I could tell Marie wondered if I was expecting an invitation and was hesitant to bring up the wedding around me, but I just never made it a big deal. I don't feel left out in the slightest. Makes a lot of sense. That's good. It's a very mature, normal human being feeling. Then I got CC'd on an email from someone in the office, Joan, who was throwing Marie a shower during our lunch hour in the break room in a couple of weeks. Joan was sending out a collection so we could give a group gift, cash, to Marie. They also suggested we make it a potluck. Joan included her Venmo and also asked we email back with what we planned on bringing. Even if I'm not going to the wedding, I still believe everyone deserves to be celebrated, and Venmo'd the $20 as well as sent a reply saying I'd bring lasagna. That's cute. Also, I freaking love lasagna, dude. It looks like a pizza hit the blender. No, that's way too dry on the top. Ooh, come to Papa! I'm enjoying has been sucked out of my body. Why are you green? There are some people in your life that are Wikipedia lasagna. Was this based on a real cat who loved lasagna? A little later, I saw the $20 had been returned to my Venmo and Joan approached my desk. She said I didn't need to contribute. I said, even if I'm not attending the wedding, I'd still like to give Maria a little something. Joan looked a little awkward and hemmed and hawed, but then eventually said, you're not invited to the shower. I was confused. I said, I can't go in the company break room on lunch hour? She said, yes. I asked, where am I supposed to go? I don't drive. I take public transit to and from work. We don't really work near anywhere I could go to quickly for our lunch hour. She said I could stay at my desk. I pointed out this was a little exclusionary. Joan said Marie didn't want me to assume I was invited to the wedding. I said, I don't at all. I completely understand. I haven't worked here long and we're not close enough. I'm not hurt by that. She said, that's great, but I still can't come. I asked if I had done anything to offend Marie and she said no. She just doesn't want me getting my hopes up. Don't feel like you have to manage everybody's feelings. It's so weird when you do other people's thinking for them. You are on the wrong track in life. If you notice that you are doing other people's thinking for them, as opposed to hearing what they're saying at face value and listening to that, then you're signing up to be anxious or controlling, or you're going to get twisted. You're going to get twisted in life. That's just what it is, man. You got to stop thinking for other people. Stop it. This is such a dumb line of thinking, man. I finally let it go and just said, fine, have a good party. The day of the shower, I sat at my desk during the party while everyone else went eating my lunch alone. That's so sad. One kind person snuck me a piece of cake. Halfway through the party, the big boss came in. She usually doesn't work on Fridays, so it was a surprise to see her. She saw me sitting at my desk and asked why I wasn't at the party. I told her I hadn't been invited. She was clearly perturbed by this. Later on, she sent an email out banning parties of any kind during work hours. A few people, Joan and Marie included, realized I'm the one who told. Now they've turned on me. Some friends say I'm in the wrong here and that I should have lied to the big boss and said I was busy with work to finish or something, so as not to ruin it for everyone else. Am I the asshole? No, they were being weird, dude. You have put a target. You're not an asshole, but you did make your work life a lot harder as long as you work there. They're not going to like you that much. You certainly imploded your comfort at the office. I mean, them not inviting you to the wedding, fine. You're totally right. You didn't know each other. You didn't know them for long enough. Whatever. You're not invited. That's fine, right? That makes sense. But this is like, is it a small area? Is there would there be 5 people in there? I don't know. Also, why are Joan and Marie, are they unable to make friends? Are they unable to adapt and have one extra person's perspective or viewpoint, Are you leaving out a critical piece of information? Do you have leprosy? You know what I'm saying? That would be a critical piece of information. For example, you have a flesh-eating disease that you touch Joan and you touch Marie and then their body parts start falling off. Is that a piece? Because if that's not happening, then what the frick, dude? Not the asshole. They're the ones who f***ed around and did an exclusionary thing. You didn't tattle on them to the big boss. The boss asked you why you were sitting at your desk / weren't at the party. You explained. I think you do have to explain to them, though. I think you do have to be like, hey, can we talk about what happened? I did not, boss came over, asked me what I was doing, XYZ, you know what I mean? And also, look, as an employer of some kind, I guess that would get on any boss's nerves, right? Is being like, oh, they're throwing a party and being exclusive about it? Simple solution. No more parties, I guess, on the clock. All Marie had to do was be a gracious person and include you in the office gathering. You were fine with a $20 contribution and lasagna, and she didn't have to be weird about you not going to the wedding. Joan and Marie are the assholes here. You even explained to them that it was exclusionary. So F them. Not the asshole. They used company resources and excluded someone in the company. That's against HR policy, I'm sure. Yeah, totally. They did not invite you. They deliberately blocked you from going and told you to stay at your desk. That's so bad. I mean, that's so cringy and weird. I used to teach at this program called the Exploration Summer Program, aka Explo. It teaches at Wheaton, Wellesley, and Yale, and I was at Wellesley. And so I would teach students who were ages, I think 11 through 14. A very strange time in your life, puberty, and your brain is on fire, and everything is, you want to be accepted so badly. And I think a lot of the training that they gave us as teachers was they would give us workshops constantly. Every week they would check in with us, and people from the Harvard Graduate School of Education would come in and would teach us like how to be better instructors and how to be more impactful to these kids. And I really wanted to do a good job. I really loved that job, and I really loved teaching. And something that they said was, first of all, learn everybody's names as soon as you can. You learn people's names so that way, if somebody's walking down the hallway and you say, excuse me, hey, could you turn around? They're not going to listen to you. But when you call them by name, you've established like a connection, and they're absolutely going to be likely to turn around and listen to you. The second thing was that they made lunches and stuff so important. Like you would sit down and you would talk to students, and you would look for the kids who were more isolated and alienated. And like, it wasn't a weird thing to come up and sit down with them, because at the time I think it was like 19, 20, something like that, and they were 12, 13. So we were in the adjacent generation to where it wasn't like, somebody who's in their 50s is sitting down next to a 12-year-old, because that would feel like you're almost in trouble. The gap is really large when you're a kid, But it was cool. It was like having an older brother or sister sitting down with you at the lunch table. Anyway, they made sure that we looked around, and we made sure that people were talking to each other, that they knew each other. You could be like, oh, you do this? It's weird because he does that. And didn't you blah, blah, blah? That's crazy. And it really, we were really encouraged to bridge the gap between the students in the lunchroom. Because, I don't know, eating is like such a communal activity. It's like, families eating together is like a really nice thing. Student bodies eating together, friends eating together, Thanksgiving. Like, when I have a family, I'm going to try to prioritize like eating dinner together and talking and stuff. Because stuff like this, like blocking you, telling you to stay at your desk, be absent. Like somebody literally came up and said, I need you to be absent. I need you to not be there. We don't want you getting your hopes up. What? She literally just said she's not getting her hopes. She doesn't want to do anything. That's so weird. Stop thinking for other people, man. They deserved what they got. Time to gray rock them, whatever that means. Sorry, boss asked me a direct question, and I assumed you were going to tell her the truth, so I wasn't going to lie and possibly get in trouble. Marie and Joan are mean girls, period. Document any retaliation ASAP. Yeah, I guess so. I guess they could retaliate. I hope that you quit soon. Outro! Check out the Patreon. There's stuff there that's for my main channel. Check out my Patreon. Yeah.